first of all, how long did this raid take to plan and execute?
We've actually been preparing for operations of this nature for quite some time now, but the execution took around 6 hours from start to finish, and indeed the operation is still ongoing now as we support the National Crime Agency to conduct their actions on the vessel itself.
How long had the vessel been in UK waters before action was taken?
It had been in UK waters for a number of hours, and we had a Navy-led operation to monitor the situation. And when the conditions were appropriate, we conducted the interdiction and took control of the vessel from there, so a number of hours.
What was the hardest part of the operation for your team?
Well, I think I wouldn't necessarily frame it as the hardest part of the operation. I think the focus for us was coordinating the assets. There were a number involved: Navy, agency, Commando force, and surface air assets within that mix. So our focus was on the coordination to ensure that we conducted a really slick execution of that boarding, and that's what we achieved.
What on that occasion, the riskiest moment for you to consider?
Well, I think when you're flying into a target at night and fast roping onto the deck, there's a number of risks that present themselves. So we're mindful of that as we go in, but the training that we've conducted, and indeed this type of operation, a maritime interdiction operation, is bread and butter for the UK Commando force and the associated assets, whether that be the surface ships involved, the helicopters. We're quite familiar operating within that risk envelope, but certainly the insertion is one of the riskiest moments of an operation of that nature.
Did you meet any resistance from the crew on board?
No, we didn't meet any resistance. Once we boarded the vessel and moved to the bridge, the dialogue that we had with them was professional, safe, and indeed the crew enabled us to conduct the actions that we needed to complete to safely take control of that vessel and move it to an anchorage.
Great. And could you tell us how many crew members were on board and what's happened to them now?
So there were 25 crew members on board the vessel. They're currently in the care of the National Crime Agency and are undertaking a process led by that agency to process them appropriately now that we've moved the vessel to a safe location.
Do you know what nationality they were?
They're a mix of nationalities. I probably won't go through that detail at the moment, as the investigation into the vessel and the crew on board is still underway.
So how does it feel to be part of this first boarding operation?
Well, it's professionally rewarding to be part of the UK's first interdiction of a Russian Shadow Fleet vessel. It's very much a team effort. It's commanded at the operational level by the Royal Navy. It involves, as you've already heard, National Crime Agency and other parts of government. And then there's a team effort from the Commando force itself, bringing together aviators, the commandos that actually board the vessel, and all the supporting elements. So rewarding in the sense that something that we train for day in, day out for a number of months now has actually been executed for real, and we can take some pride in that. But we're certainly looking forward to the future and what further opportunities may present themselves.
Absolutely. And how many forces are involved in this particular operation?
I can't talk about exact numbers of forces on the operation, but what I can say is that it involved 42 Commandos Fleet Contingent Squadron as part of the assaulting force, with a number of helicopters, Chinook, Merlin, Wildcat in support, and in fact four come the end of the operation, Royal Navy surface assets. So a sizable and relatively comprehensive force package for this particular operation.
In terms of the political optics of this, it's obviously been a tough week for the Prime Minister in terms of his Defence Secretary resigning. Do you feel that this was a political stunt to make the Prime Minister look strong, or is the timing just a coincidence and this operation has actually been planned for weeks?
Well, we're certainly aware of the strategic context at the tactical level, which is a my particular domain. So we're conscious of what's going on in that space, but our focus has been on planning the execution of the tactical action itself, and that's what we focused on over the last few days.
And why was this particular tanker targeted, opposed to the many that have already transited through the channel ever since the Prime Minister greenlit this kind of mission in March?
So we have a number of criteria that we consider when executing an interdiction of this nature, and those can vary over time. So we reserve the right to consider that information and make sure that when we do execute a boarding, the conditions are appropriate for what the objective of that particular interdiction is, and that's why on this occasion the vessel in question here satisfied those criteria, and we were in a position to execute when all the factors came together.
And obviously, you know, hopefully this will send a strong message to Vladimir Putin. What would your message be to him?
Well, I think that message is the same as what our allies have been communicating, and indeed what the UK government has been communicating, that evading sanctions to fund an illegal war in Ukraine will be countered with decisive action, and that's what we've done on this occasion.
And are you at all worried that Russia will retaliate?
It's a consideration, certainly, but what I would say is again, from a tactical perspective and the force package that we're able to generate and employ against a mission set such as this, it's very comprehensive. We consider a lot of contingencies, so we're prepared for a range of options depending on what circumstances may present themselves in the future.
For the next operation of this sort, are you worried that, you know, maybe next time there might be Russian armed guards in the tankers? Will it now be a more dangerous mission?
Well, it's certainly not a worry. It's certainly a consideration, though, and that's all fed into the criteria and our assessment of the situation, and it feeds into our decision calculus as to when, where and how we may conduct an interdiction similar to this in the future.
Are you aware of any other movements of Shadow Fleet vessels in the channel this morning?
Not necessarily this morning, because my particular focus has been on a specific vessel at the moment, but there's a whole intelligence apparatus behind what we did last night that will certainly be looking at the full breadth of options and considering those very carefully.